Okay, everyone, this is our final result that we're going to actually try to achieve. I'm going to achieve this with you, and we're going to create something that look exactly like this 100%. Okay, if you look at here now, we can navigate to a different dashboard, and we can come back right here, and we can turn on the filter. So it's out. So we can have it hidden again if we don't need it. So here we go. We can go through here, and we can decide to actually filter our data, and the whole dashboard will be filtered on clicking on any of this particular, slicer right here. So we can filter by gender. So all we are seeing right now is based on male or female, depends on what we have clicked on right here, and we can clear the filter. And once we are done filtering our dashboard, we can actually have the slicer hidden. So now we have this particular dashboard that has the same slicer as well, that we can actually integrate into it. So all of this is going to be shown to you how we got it created and make it as beautiful and fancy as this. So don't worry, we're not going to write any VBA all by ourselves. So if VBA needs to be used, we can record it and actually further, enhance the VBA to work using GPT. We don't need to trouble our brain. Okay, we have more information right here that you can click on and get into here. And once you are done, you can decide to go to this particular one that has the home icon, or you go to this particular one right here. So whichever one you want to go into is all your choice. So before we started doing this, we need to understand a bit about this particular dashboard. What does it really do? Our data was just there looking at us, and we have to clean it up and actually have it the way we have just seen it right now. So this is what we have. This table here, this table, and this table, and this particular table. So it doesn't give us any insight. To actually throw insight into it, we need to create a visual that looks like this and this one right here. So with that, we can start making decision with the data that we have. Okay, let us create our first KPI before we design our dashboard environment. So over here inside the fact table ridership, if I actually scroll down a little bit, so you can see we have numbers of riders. If I drag it right here, it's going to give me the sum of the total numbers of riders that we actually have, right? So if you want to use DAX to have this done, what you can do is to go to calculate here. So click over here and then go over to the pivot table, analyze, okay, power pivot rather, and click on this new measure here, new measure. And here we have the calculation. That is where this is going to store into. So we can type in here total riders. So I can, in the bracket, I can now say passengers. So to translate that. So once you've done that, all you have to do is to create a sum of the numbers of riders that we have here. Then go ahead and close this. And now you can come over here and say this is number. So let us verify if there is any error. Check formula. So no problem. So we can now convert this one into a whole number, and we do this comma separator and we click on OK. So if you look at this now, the title of this particular one is total riders. In bracket, we have passenger. This one is giving us sum of. That is the one we dragged in. So I'm going to take that one off. You get it? So if I want to create average now, I can drag in the same thing over here. Now I'll create average over this. I can decide to do the average using DAX as well if you want to do that. But clicking over here and doing this, you can, now you cannot create average over this one because it's actually the one that is with measure. So let's see if we can actually average it using a measure. So we go over here again, new one. So right here, we're going to type in to this box, average riders per trip. So the average riders per trip, we now come over here and we do average. So this is the average function. So the average function is looking for a number. So we average that same number of riders inside of our of the fact table. So we just close this. And now we check this to see if there's any error. There is none. So we do this and we put it on whole number. Whole number. So we don't need comma separator. Just click on OK. So the average here is 33. So how would normal way of doing it in pivot table would get this? So we need to use the column coming from our fact table, which is this particular one called number of riders. This very one here. So if I drag it in here, it is going to give me some. So we can click over here now and go to this particular value field settings and we average it. Then we'll click on OK. So now it's going to give us average. So where the heck is it? Sum of number of riders. It has not. Let's do it all over again. Right click, get into this, then click on average, click on OK. So now it's giving us average to be 32. So what we did to have this was approximation. So we need to approximate 9 to 2. Then we can do Ctrl 1 and we do number. Then we'll take off this. And over here, you can see we have this. Do you get it now? So we don't actually need it. We already have used our measure to get it done. And we have it right here. Okay, with this, we can go ahead and create our dashboard. So on the KPI part, we have one more thing that we got to put right in there, right? So total passenger came twice. We can remove one of it. So we don't have to create this particular pivot table all over again by going to insert. From insert, we click on a new pivot table. No, we can copy this one over here and reuse it. So what I'm going to do right now is if I want to reuse it, I want to some kind of demarcate here. Click over here and just pick any color of your choice from here. So which shows that what we have here is different from what we have here. So we can easily track it. So because those ones are KPI, I can actually, put this one beneath the previous one. There will be no problem. But if you know that this one would grow vertically, don't put any pivot table or here again. Otherwise, you're going to have a problem once this particular one starts growing. So what I'll do now is to actually go ahead and remove this particular one that says average. So I'm going to go with this one. So going with this now is to look for the busiest route and as well the least busy route. So how do we get that done? So we have to go to this particular part here and route name. I'm going to drag it in here. So now we have this. I have told you already before now, do not bother about this one. It's trying to check for relationships. So we can just go ahead and close it. We don't need to get that. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is for me to right click and go to filter and just do top 10. And from top 10, what I'm going to need to use here is 1. And we just do this. So here becomes our busiest route. So I can just type in here. So we can copy this one away from here. Before I copy, I don't want to see the grand total. So why don't I remove it? Let us some kind of affect this one a little bit. Go over here. For the grand total, we turn it off. Then for this one, we make sure we use tabular form that shows the route name here. Then we can go ahead and copy this and paste it over here. What we are interested in is not the number, but what we have here. So what we can do now is to right click again and go to filter, go to top 10. So instead of us to use top, we can use bottom right here. That will give us the one with the least number. Can you see it now? So we can usually identify this to be the least busy route. Do you get it now? So what we have here right now needs to be represented on a dashboard. So how do we do that? So we have written our first DAX to get things calculated, average and numbers of riders. And now we've gotten the top and the bottom of the route that we actually have in our data set. So the next thing now is to create our dashboard, which we're going to do in the next one coming up soon. Now let us look at how to create our dashboard layout. In order to create our dashboard layout, what we need for the first time is card. So this card is going to be divided into two. The first one is for KPI. The second one will be for charts. So we are using Microsoft Excel to create our dashboard. So for that, we are going to remove all the grid lines from it and have a plain slate to have it created. So we need color. So we need colors, and we are going to be using a background with some kind of black one. So you can decide to create your own background to be light version, but I'm going to show you how to create a black or dark background that still pops everything you put in it, and it will look okay. And whatever we do on our dashboard is going to be verified using GPT to see if we are doing the right thing or not. So let's go through how all this could be done. Okay, we are right here inside our Microsoft Excel. We're going to need to some kind of insert a new sheet. So this new sheet should be named dashboard. So here is our dashboard. So if you listen to me previously, I said we are going to remove all of the grid lines. So go to the top here and click on view. From view, you take off the grid lines. So this looks a bit better, but not very better. So this particular A or letters and numbers you have right here should be turned off. That is the column and the rows, what identified them. So we turn off the headings right here. So we are left with this. So if you have your formula bar turned on, that will still actually take away from the space you have for the dashboard. So you need to turn it off. So go ahead and turn off your formula bar. So your formula bar should be on and off. When you use it, you turn it off. If you don't have the use for it, turn it off. If you have the use, go and turn it on. So now we have this. The very first thing I'm going to do is to actually create a darker version of a dashboard. So go ahead and Control A. So Control A helps you to highlight every single cells in this worksheet. Go to the top ribbon, go to Home. From Home, click over here, and now we select this very one here. Now we have something like this. So with this now, we are almost good to go. So the next thing we want to do is to beautify our dashboard. So go to the top ribbon, go to Insert. From Insert, go to Illustrations, and now go to Shapes. So from Shapes, scroll a little bit down, and over here you see this particular arrow. So drag it down. So we don't want to get this focus. What we need to do now is go to the top ribbon here, click on Shape Format, then click on this Rotate and do Horizontal Flip. So with Horizontal Flip, we're going to actually put this right here, fill it down, and let it cover the edge here. So on this particular, is it yellow circle? Just hold it and drag it. So we can now do something like this. So I want to shift this a little bit back like this. Now, this is what I want. So you can Control 1 to bring this up. If you would forget that, so right click and you see where it says Format Shape. So click on it and it gives you this. Control 1 will definitely do the same thing. The very first thing you have to do is to click on Line and turn off the line. Then come over here now, use the gradient fill. So we have this. I'm going to remove all those stops I have here. So I have those stops. I will add one more stop, which makes it 3. Then add one more again, which makes it 4. So you might have different version of this selected, or you might have something like this that looks like this. Don't worry about that. We're going to customize all of this. So I'm going to add a new stop to this, which makes it 4 now. So for the very first step, I'm going to come over to where I have my color writing, click on it and pick this color. Then for this one here, I want to select, okay, let's go over to this place. Instead of this particular radial, we're going to select something like linear. So here we go. So something linear. Then this particular part here should not be 90 degree. Instead, we should keep it at 0 degree. That is the setting. Then let's now go with black on this one. That is good. So you can see we're converting this. So in case you can't remember the color we are using, I can show you the color code. So you can use the color code to create the settings the way it should be. Maybe that will definitely give you more edge to understand what I'm doing. So let us click on this one here, click over here, click on more colors, and on more colors right here, we're going to fill it up with 4-2, 4-2, tab, 4-2, tab again, 4-2. Then that gives you this color. Just click on OK. So you can see the color has changed. Do you get it now? So the same thing I have done to this now. So for the next color, we are going to do something like that. So click over here, click to this particular part, more colors. So instead of 4-2, we're going to do 8-9 for both red, green, and blue. So we click on OK. Now I have this color. You get it now? So this is what I have. So you can actually follow the same step and you would have exactly the same thing. I want us to have the same exact thing. So click on this last one here, click over here, more colors. And instead of we to use 228 here, we are going to use 13. So we have 13 as well, all true. So we click on OK. So this is what we have. So we can decide now to just bring this one a bit to this end here and move this one a little bit. You can see what effect it is creating right now. You get it? This is what you should actually try to do. So if you look at this particular place for the position here, we want to put the position at 93. Let's be on the same page. Let's use number. Position is 93. So this one now, we have to change its position to 71 instead of 76. 71 is the position. So we click on this one as well. Then we try to find a new position for it. This one should be on 39 instead of 36. 39. And finally, this one should be on 0 position. So this is what we have, actually. Is what we have. So with this here now, what can we do? If you check this out, this is what you have. So you can choose between what you have here to finally set it up the way you like it. So if we have gotten this, the next thing we have to do right now is to actually create a duplicate of this. Just click on this one, Ctrl D will duplicate it. You get it now. So once you have duplicated, so I would move this a little bit here. So I'll move it and I will send it to back. Send to back. Now I'll create something like this. So with this now, we can change what we have here. You can just swap it and play around with what you have here to have something much more unique. You get it now. So you can bring this a bit forward and take this one this way. So let's take this one to this way. Take this one here and bring this one a bit. So this one would look almost lapping this one. So I'll get a duplicate of this one at the top, duplicate again. I'll shift it and I'll right click and I'll send to back. When I send this to back, I can now bring this one right here now. I can shift it and have something right here. Make sure this one is covering to the top. So you can see this is what we have. So we create another duplicate again. So send it to back. So this is what you have. So you can just decide to design it anyhow you like. But in all, make sure it's covering it to the top. Don't shift it down like this. Make sure it covers to the top. So I'm going to duplicate this one. And the duplicated one, I can move it like this and right click, then send it to back. Then that gives you something like this effect. So what I don't like much about this now is the brightness. I have to change it. So for this first one here, it's okay. I'll click on this one. I would love to just play around with what I have here. So now this is cool for me. Then for this one, I want to make it a bit darker. So for that, I would have to bring this like this. Then click on this last one here and bring this one, then increase it. So if I deselect this now, we have something like this. It's not making a very huge sense yet, but don't worry, when the time comes for it to make sense, it will definitely make a lot of sense for you. So what do we do next? The next thing we have to do is to start creating our shapes. So what do we get first? So let's go over to the top ribbon, click on Insert. From Insert, click on Illustrations, click on Shapes, and now we take this particular shape with rounded corners. Drag it down. So once you have dragged this down, I told us that we have to be on the same page. In order for we to be on the same page, the height should be 1.02. Let's go to the top ribbon, click on Shape and Format, and click on Height. So let's do 1.02. Then for the width now, the width should be 8.18. So 8.18. This is what we have. So if you look at the rounded part of it, is some kind of too curvy. You might want to play around with it to some kind of, maybe make it more curvy or whatsoever. So this particular part will do the magic for you. So I would love to have something like this, not too curvy. Then I am going to have this right here. But before then, I will create a duplicate of this and I'll have it at this particular part. Now, on this one here, what I will do to it is to change or convert this to a dark color. So what color should we have for it? So let's go over here and turn off the line. Then come over here now, click on this one, and let us use this particular color here. This particular color with 5% lighter. So we have this. If I step off now, you can see it pops very well on our background. This is great, right? So we can have it somewhere around here for now, for the time being. Then for this one, we have actually brought here. First of all, we have to change its color. So let us make sure we turn off the line and come over here. We select something like this color for it. So once we have selected this color, the next thing we have to do is that we don't want the weight to be as this much. So what we're going to do for the height, we go to the top here, we come over here for the height, we do 6.94. 6.94. Then now for the width should be 0.55. 0.55. Now we have something like this. Okay, let's reduce it a little bit and we can fit it here. So this is where we are going to actually have this right in. So once we have gotten this here, the next thing we have to do right now is to look at it. Does this release, sit at the right place where it should be? If not, we could actually maintain where it's sitting. So now we want to create a white space. There is what we call white space. Let me tell you that using a demonstration. So if I pick up this now, I'm going to drag this here. So I'm going to drag another one in the middle of it. So sorry if I don't have a perfect line. So the space between this particular one and this one, the space between it from here and here, the space here and here, and the space here and here is what we call white space. So you have to maintain equal spacing from the left, from the right, from the bottom, and from the top. And if there is anyone in the middle, you have to do that justification. So now over here, this is the white space we're talking about here. So you want to keep a white space like this. So you can decide to some kind of adjust the white space you have here by clicking on this one and move it a little bit. Move it here a little bit. So let me just a bit open it up. Okay. So let's say what we have here is okay. I can duplicate this. So once I have it duplicated, I'll come over here. I will select this particular color, which is great, right? If you are not cool with it, you can change the color to any color of your choice right here. Let's go with this one. I think this looks better. So what I'm going to do right now is to make sure I send this to back. Send to back. So sending this to back, I'm going to do this. I'll just move it inside. I'll make sure it's aligned proper. If it has aligned proper, I would release it, and this is what we have. So we have something like this. So Ctrl Z, I'm going to push this up a little bit. So until the one at the bottom here disappears. So we have something like this. So Ctrl Z now, we select both of them together. So I'm going to right click and I click on group. So I can now move it in one click. This is what we have here. So for the time being, we are going to work with this. So right here, this one is going to go down and create a space right here for our chart title. So let's take this one closer to this a bit. Yeah, I think something like this will be okay. And this for our chart. So if we have gotten this, this is beautiful. And we are almost there to create something that is going to make you feel like, wow. So this is all the process we need to take to have all of this created. And this is where our first KPI would definitely go into. Before we continue adding more cards, let's work with this first. So let us go back to the KPIs we have. So right here, we have KPI for riders, we have for average, our rider per trip, and then we have the route that is top and bottom, right? So now to showcase this, we need to create some cards that takes up the titles. So what I will do now is go over here and click on insert. So with insert, you can come to this particular text and click on it and click on this text box. Another way to get this is for you to click on insert and go to illustrations and click on shapes. Then you have the same thing here. So I've taken that, and here what I'm going to do is to type in total riders. So we can call it total passengers. So with this now, we are good to go. But one thing here is that we have a background that is a white that wouldn't actually work with what we want. So for the first time, I would love to remove it. But let's kind of come over here now and make sure this is actually on 11. And I'm going to be using this area here, something like this. Then the next thing now is to Control 1, and I'll turn off this and the line. Now we can see the text we have in it. So what if I click on this particular text option here, so we can change our color from here? Let's go with something like this. So I'm going to push this text into the middle and centralize it like this. Okay, this is what we actually have. So where are we going to position this? So we can take this to the top here. Somewhere around here is fine. So I don't like this color. What if I want to change it? Click on text options and let's take this one. So if you want something brighter, you can take the opposite of it, this one here. Now, when I duplicate it using Ctrl D, I can move this duplicated one over here. And what is going to be here is going to be the average. So the average is going to be spelled very short. Average riders or passengers per trip. So let us use riders. It's shorter per trip. Okay. So just Ctrl D, it will duplicate it for you. So right here, we're going to put in busiest route. Right. So under Ctrl D again. So here now will be list. Busy route here. So, okay. So now we have this. So what I'm going to do now is to like centralize this. So I have to position this one at the actual place I want it to be. So I want it to be right here. Then hold the Control key to select this one, and finally this one. Go to the top ribbon. Go to Shape and Format. Then go to Align, and we align to the top. Then go back there, Align, and distribute vertically. Is it vertically? Horizontally, rather. Now, when we distribute horizontally, you can see they are on the same line and they maintain the same spacing, which is actually great, right? So the color I have here seems to be not the color I want to use. If I have to change this color now, so what I will do is to come over here and click on just one of it and then click on this one. Let's go with the third one here. This is great. So I can go ahead with my format painter, go to home, double click on this one and use it as many times as you want. So it darkens it a little bit. We don't want it to overshadow our main value that is going to come on it. So what I will do now is to hold my Control key to select all of this. So once I've done that, you can see a plus sign. So just drag this down. So drag it down like this. This is beautiful. So your question now will be, what the heck are we going to do with this? Don't worry, it has its own use. So go ahead and turn on your formula bar. It's on. So the first thing I'm going to do is to bring in total passengers. Put my equal sign here and go over to here. This is my total riders. That is my total passenger as well. So are you bugged about not seeing it? Oh, that is crazy. Let's go over here and quickly use this color. Now we can see what we brought in. So this one is gonna be the rider. Average rider per trip. So this one here is going to be the busiest route. So click over here and this is what we're going to take. Forget the number, just this. And the least busy route. So we're going to pick the name or the route name, not the number. Yeah, okay. This is what we want, right? So what else do we need to do? Right here, right now. We have to increase the size or the sizes of every single card. I'm going to use a different font type here. let's go with this. Okay, I think this one is cool. And let's go with 24. So we go with 24. 24 looks cool. So are we going to go with 24 in every other part of it? So I guess the answer is no. Instead, let's go with 16. So click on this one and change the color to the same color, and let's do 16. Type it in and hit your enter key. So we have 16. Double click on this one and apply it to this one and this very one here. So this is what it is. But the thing is this is not in any way looking beautiful. So what I'll do now is to hold my control key to select all of them and move it down a bit like this. So we have to create something that will make it look much more better than what we have here now. So what I will do is to go to the top ribbon, and I can click on Insert, Illustrations, Shapes, and I can pick up this one without the rounded corner. So once I have it clicked on, I can just drag it like this. Okay, so I'll make sure it's in the middle of them. So if I release it now, I have something like this. It's cool. But this is not making any sense yet. Ctrl-1 to bring this format shapes up. Then let us use gradient fill. So using the gradient fill we have right here, so it's giving us the same effect as what we have before. If I release it now, can you see it? It has this particular, what I call it, outline. So we take off the outline, we see no outline. So it's giving us this effect. So this is a result of what we have used before. So we are still using that same one. So what we can do now is to just maintain how this one looks. So I'll take off one of the stops. Take one off. I'm having this one here. So for this one here, make sure it's at the extreme end, both the left and right. So it will create an effect like this. So if you want the effect to extend to this particular part, what you can do now is to make sure you just bring this and bring this a bit. So now, oh no, this is not good. So let's take it up to this level. So now with something like this, we are really cool with what we have. So the next thing you could do is to go over to here, which is optional. Take this particular circle here and hold your shift key to draw the perfect circle, just as little or small as this. Now hold here and keep it over here. So come over here and let's take up this. We want something not too bright. Let's go with this one here. So we take off the line. So we Ctrl-D to duplicate it. So we pick this up and have it around here. So what I'm saying now is that this is too light. So what if I create a version that is not as this? I'll go with this one. This looks better. So we can just do the same thing by going with this one here. So we do the same thing for this one. I duplicate this. I have it for this particular part. I get it duplicated again. And I move it right here to identify this. This looks much more beautiful and better, right? So I can just click over here now and just move this a bit like this here. Okay, this is our first KPI. And I love this to be brighter than the top here, that is the description or the title. So with this KPI now, we are very good to go, and we are almost close to what we have created that you have seen. Okay, the very last thing I'm going to add on this one right now, so you just better watch it, is to add the title of this dashboard. I can duplicate the previous used one here and move it up to this level and stretch it this way. And the next thing I'm going to do right now is to look at how or what the title is going to be. So this title of the dashboard could be with an icon or the company's logo. So it depends. So what I'm going to put here now is going to be transaction dashboard. So with the transaction dashboard, what size do we give to it? So, and what font? Make sure this cursor is not blinking. Select and go over here. So let us select area black. This one here. So with that, we choose 16. So the 16 looks cool. This is what we have right now. And this is better. So what I'll do now, I'll create a version that is very bright. And let's go with this version. Okay, this version is okay. Can go with this one. Something like this is cool. So what I'll do now is to just do this and take this to make it start from the beginning here. I would love it like this. So here is our dashboard. This beginning of it. So I told you always turn off the formula bar to make your dashboard looks beautiful. So I'm going to go to view. From view, I click on formula bar. Now it's looking a bit great than what we had before. So what about this, right? Before we proceed, we could actually just move this one in a bit that looks like this and have it duplicated once more and bring this one here, right click and send it to back. So with this one now, make sure it covers up. So do your Ctrl+1 to actually change how it looks. So this part here should be changed to something like this. So now this one could go a bit inside. So this looks great. Sorry, I just wanted to add something. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do now is to visualize bus utilization rate by time category or time group, by time group. So for doing that, what we need to do is to actually get a card. So we could use the same card like this one here, duplicate it. So with the duplicate now, I'm going to make sure I have this very wide space here for it. So once we have done this, the next thing now is I want us to be on the same page. Let's do the height and the width through here. So this will depend on the screen size you're using. You can always adjust things a little bit to fit your screen size, right? So if your screen size is a very wide screen size, you have to adjust things to make sure it covers all of your screen instead of having it to be some segment rather. So I'm going to use 3 by let's do 3 by 4.9. So 4.9 here. Okay, 3 by 4.9 looks great and okay, but not very okay. So if you look at it now, it looks beautiful, but one thing is not really going well now, and that is the curve here. So we can just maintain the curve this way. So I can push this one this way now. I'm going to make sense with what it will happen soon. So what I'm going to do right now, because I want to maintain the same white space here, I will hold my Control key to select this one. Just the card, not the text I have on it. So go over to the top here and go to align and align to the left. So here, this is what you can do to make sure you create the equal justification you have here. So this looks some kind of great, but not too great. I want to bring out this particular card here from the background. How could I do that? First of all, I would want to increase this a little bit, right? A little bit, and do the same thing here a little bit. Okay, I'm going to create a duplicate of it. So with the duplicate version, what I want to have now is Ctrl+1. I want to change the color. Let's use something like this. Now, with this color here, I would love to just take this and size it up and make sure the one behind it does not show. Right click. Can we center back? No, we can't center back. It's going to be a problem. So I'm going to click on this one here, the one at the back. So I'll now right click and I will bring this to front. Then I can click on this one here and now create the effect I want. Shift this one inside, not very much inside. It will show up a little bit, but outer part of it. So now we have this kind of effect on our card. Right? I can Ctrl Z now. So with Ctrl Z, I can right click and I will click on group. Where the heck is the group? Sorry, hold your Control key to click on the one above it. Right click and the group is here. You click on group. So, but this is not great. So let's just do it once more again. So now we right click, we group this way. So now this is what we have. Very interesting to look at. So what is going to come right here, we need to put in the title first. So duplicate it, Ctrl D. So we bring the title over here. I can stretch this. So over here, the title should be Bus Utilization by time range. So click on this one and here we go. Something like this. So in case you want to increase the size of this one, you can definitely increase it. So what the size we are using is actually 11. It's good on 11 and we're going to go with this. So what if I have something like this here, duplicated? I'm going to move it over to this particular place just to identify this. This looks great. Okay, now this is fine. What are we going to have on it? I told you it's going to be a chart that shows the time group we have created. So the time group is that we want to find how many passengers do we have for this particular time group. Or we can bus utilization by time group. So inside a bracket, total passengers by time. So you can stretch this. So on this particular part here, I would highlight. So close this up. So this one shouldn't take much space. I would have to do something like this, right? So that is not, that particular one is not the main focus. So for that, we're not giving too much focus on it. Total passenger by time. So what I will do now is go over to my analysis. I can copy the previous one. Maybe this one here. Copy. And I'll bring it up to this particular part here. I will paste it. So once pasted here, what we're going to do right now is to use this to answer our questions. So I'm going to remove this particular route name here. So we're left with the total passengers that we have. So let's go to all and go to our fact table or dimensional, transactional table. Here's the fact table. So I'm going to go to time group. So I believe you remember when we did this. So here we have the time group here. Our time group is grouped into 3 different intervals. So you might want to create this time group to be on 3 interval or whatsoever. It depends on what you really want. So what I will do, I'll make sure there is no filter on this. So this is going to be used to create our chart. So just click on this and create the chart. Go to insert. From insert, you click on this chart. If you don't understand charts or you don't know what charts could be used, then that is when you need the recommended chart. So with the recommended chart, it will recommend you a chart that could be good for this. This chart is okay, it's going to work well, but because of space management, we're not going to use this. Let us try to use this and look at what will be the ugly side of it. So I'm going to remove all of this from here to maintain the chart to look very clean. So right click and say hide. So we take off this one and the grid lines should go as well. So the title should go because we've gotten our title created. Okay, so Ctrl X to cut it. Over here, we can paste it in here. So if you look at it now, if I have to make it a bit, skews and have a space here for some other KPI, this is what I will have. So definitely this is not an ideal. So what I'll do is to right click and say change chart type. So I'll come over here to this bar instead of column. I'll choose the bar chart. So with the bar chart, this looks very great. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to double click, and this is up. I'll turn off this and turn off this. So I'll come over here. This color, I'm going to be dealing with this color as well. So I'll deal with this color. So we have the color we want to use, but right now I'm going to show you a site that will give you different color inspiration. So right here, I can search for Adobe color. So let us select this one. So here is adobecolor.com. So we open it up. So once you have it opened, what you will see is something like this. So make sure you just cancel. Don't take it off. It's not really important. So we have it taken off. So if you scroll down now, you see lots of information. You don't have any business with this one. So what you'll do is to go to Explore. Click on Explore. So from Explore, you can just go down and you see different colors that some kind of correlates. So you pick from here. Otherwise, you can mix your color. So our background is having black. It has gray. So I want to have other 3 to 4 colors that matches black and gray. If I hit my enter key right now, Adobe would mix up this color for me. So you can now scroll down. You can see over here now. So this color, we have this color, white, but not some kind of white. We have black color. So you can see other color that goes along with the color of our background. You can see. So what if I choose to use something like this color here? So if I choose to use something like this color or this color, what do? You copy the color code if you want to use it. So let's go back to here. I can click on this one now and come over to this place and come over here, and then paste it, the color code you've copied in here. So click on OK. This gives us this color. You understand? So I have already gotten my color defined. So if I want to go by the color I have, I think the one I have is more brighter than this one, but something similar. So what I will do now, I can just go to color. I'll go to more color. So in case you don't have hex code, you can use the RGB. For the RGB, it was 104. Then we do 184. And finally, we do 176. So you can see we have a lighter version. Can you see? This pops better. So now what I will do is to come over to this particular part where it says series options. And we're going to actually make it this way, right? So this is not looking cool. What about this part here? So we're going to change it. So what I'll do now is to click on this one and text option. we choose this color. Better, right? So something is not really doing or working well for us now. That is the hierarchy. So we need to rank this from the highest to the lowest value. That takes us back to where we left. So now over here, you can click. So right click and go to sort, largest to smallest. So if we go and we still have issue with this, what you do is to Control-1. So with Control-1, make sure this particular axis here is selected. That is the y-axis, right? So go over to here under axis option. Scroll down and you see category in reverse order. Click on it. Then you have something like this. So if you look at it, we have this particular part here, a stroke that is very wide. So we need to reduce the color of it and make sure it matches the background we're using here, the dark background. So select it alone. So let's go to color. And this time around, what color is it? I think if I say no color, there's no line. Okay, that nice line. So I'm going to select the solid line. So with the solid line now, I can select something like this. Step off and look at it. It looks like this. So if you're not really cool with what you have, you can retouch it again. So look for darker version of it, this one. So make sure somebody should be able to tell that something is there. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to stretch this down. So click on it and make sure it sits right the way it should be. Something like this is fine. Okay, we have other KPIs we want to show. So we want to show peak hour and the off-peak hour, like the hours where we have more passengers and the hours we have less passengers. So I'm going to show this one here, data label. So the data label now, click on it and go over here, then go over to home and you click on this. So we're going to select this. So here we go. So between 5 a.m. to 10 a.m., we have these numbers of people that actually, buy our service. Then between 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., this is numbers of people. 12 a.m. to 5 p.m., or 5 a.m. rather, this is numbers of people. This is what we need to look at. So right now, I want to see what is the actual peak time. Very important. So we'll talk about that in the next one coming up soon. All right, everyone. In our previous creation, we have looked at how to actually, group time and create analysis based on the time we have grouped. So right now, what we're about to do is to look at the peak hour. So the peak hour of operation, and we're going to look at the off peak hour of operation. So what are we talking about? The peak hour here identifies something very good, while the off peak hour here means some kind of downtime, like downtime or poor time of the day when we don't have much passengers, because we are actually transportation company. So we want to look at how to manage our resources and which particular place we should put more buses that are spacious to. Then the peak hour is one of the places. So if this off peak hour was some kind of peak hour a few hours ago, and right now we have identified that at this particular time it will be off peak hour, we can now push fewer resources right here in order to actually make more profit from our business. So what about this? It's very easy to create in Excel. Let's see how we can do this. Okay, for the first time, what I want us to do is to actually look at how we can bring some icons here to help us get what we want done. So to get your icons, you can get your icon inside of Microsoft Excel, but you have an external site where you can actually get your, icons from. I'm going to show you what kind of icon you should be using from this site. So let's search for it. So we search for flaticon.com. So here we have it. So flaticon.com, look at the spelling right here. Then once you get here, we have different types of icons here. So we can decide to use just icons, or you click on this particular drop down, you can use animated icon. So which I'm not going to use right now. So let us use just normal icon. So I'm going to type time here and hit my enter key. So I'll have different icons for time. So here we go. So when doing this particular kind of thing, make sure you do not use time from this one that has different colors, except if this color matches the color of your dashboard. So what I'm going to do is to use a plain black that is PNG transparent. It has no background on it. So I'm going to go with this one. Then click on PNG, click on download, then just wait for it. So it has been downloaded. So I can click on next here to see different ones. You understand? You can see from here, or you can cancel to choose from this particular range we have here. So I'm going to go with this one. Then PNG again. I'll go for free download. Then quickly it has been downloaded to my PC. Then that is good. So the next thing right now is to get it right here. But before we get it right here, let's confirm if we have the same icons inside our Microsoft Excel. Then before you can have those icons here, you must be using an advanced, or recent Excel version. 2016 do not have it. 19, I presume, do not have it. So it should be some 2020, 21 and above. So click over here and go to icons. So it's just that you don't have lots of icons from here the way you would have from where we have been to. So I can type in my time. So you can see we are limited. So we have this, we have this. So it's okay. This can work for us as well. So we can go with this if we feel like. So we can bring this here and separate it. Sorry. So now we have this time. So I'm going to bring in the one we have downloaded. So go to insert and click on illustrations, click on picture and this device. So we're going to move to our download file and we get this and this from here. So I can just minimize this. So we have similar icons, PNG, no background on it. So this is exactly what you should do. So if you can't get the icons from this particular Excel, you need to go to flaticon.com to get icon from there and use it for your project. So I'm going to take this one off. Then we're going to go with this. So this is here. We are fine with this. So quickly, let us click over here and I'm going to copy those two. Then I would love to just separate this. Okay, because this is time, I'm going to put this here. So right now we go with this to separate it. So I would love to insert more columns. Inserted. Oh, what happened? What have we done? Okay, let's see. To insert more column, right click and click on insert. It has been inserted for you. Now let us try the shortcut of inserting columns. So you click on your Control Shift and the plus. So you have more inserted. And if you want to delete those particular columns you have inserted, you click on your Control minus. Can you see? Control Shift, this. So let me quickly write the shortcut for you. Control Shift and Shift hold down. Then press the plus key to add columns or rows. So to delete now, you just hold down your control and do what? And minus and press. Minus key. That is all you need to do. So this is all we can actually do. So with this now, you can use the shortcut to get this done if that is what you want. So right here, what I'm going to do is to some kind of copy this particular part here. So let's copy this and paste it down here. So what I'm going to do with this one right now is to actually create my peak time from here. And I believe you must have known peak hour, what I'm about to, of operation. Then I will go into this by right clicking. I will actually bring my field list up. So I believe you know how we did this. You can move it anywhere and you can just widen it or shrink it the way you like. So instead of me seeing this particular time group here, I'm going to remove my time group and I will go to all. From all, I would locate where I have my fact table right in. Now pick up time instead. So time is on the wrong place. So what we're going to do right now is to actually disable it. Let us take this off. Take minutes off. We are left with time. So we're going to push this time into the row area. So we are now here. So what we are looking forward to creating is actually the time with the highest numbers of passengers or for all riders, right? You can right click and do the same thing we have done, which is not really far from what we have done previously. So top 10, instead of 10, we want to see the top one. And this actually gives us the time we have more people going out. You understand? So this is going to be limited to top 10. You can decide to create another column to put this in case there is something that wrongs with this one and it's unfiltered. Then why don't you just come over here and include more insert, or you can use the shortcut as I've said earlier, the shortcut Control Shift and plus, add more of this. Then we can copy this particular part, have it right here. So right now, instead of me to use peak hour, so I'm going to use off peak hour of operation. Then right click on this particular part and go to filter, top, and now we change from top to the bottom. Then we click on OK. So here we have the downtime or the off peak hour, whatever you want to call it. So we're not going to use these particular numbers we have right here. This number helps us to filter the highest and the lowest, right? So what we need to have now is getting this time, and we want our company to focus on this time for off peak hour and for peak hour when they want to actually utilize the resources judiciously. So it is time or the high time to start visualizing this. What we can do now is to click over here. So this is where we have to use those icons we have right here. So it can make the icons a bit smaller. Then I'll push the icon over here. If you look at the icon now, it disappears into our main background. What can I do? So I will go Control 1. So with my Control 1, I'll click on this particular part of picture. And I think I'll click on picture, color, then come over here, not here, not here, come over here and click over here and choose it. Choose this one. So if you look at it, that is too bright, you can control the color you have in it. So I want to control the color. Too bright, I don't want it to actually overshadow most of my works or my charts and stuff like that. So we can decide to go with something like this, which is some kind of calm. That is beautiful, right? So we can reduce it a little bit and make it something small like this one here. So I'm going to have it somewhere around here. Then go with this one, quickly click on this and choose this very one as well. So we can minimize it to make it a bit smaller, and we bring it all the way to this particular part. All right. So once we have this here, what I'm going to do now is to actually copy from this particular top one here. So I get this copied. I keep this right here. So I want this one to be down here while this one is above it, like this. Then what I'm gonna do now is type in peak hour. That is peak hours of operation. Or I can just use peak hour. Just peak hour will be cool. If you want to use peak hour of operation, is a choice, or we can do that. So let's say peak hour of operation. So something like this would be cool, right? Then in that case, we can just push this in a little bit. Okay, then that will create room for this one. So we can shift it and make sure this particular icon is in the middle of it. So we've gotten our peak hour. So I can just maintain this particular one as well. Then what I'm going to do now is to actually click on this one and get it duplicated. That is final. So duplicate this one and bring this particular one here. So what we just have to include here is the off. So we have the off peak hour right here. So for the peak hour, we want to see what we have for the peak hour. Getting this one duplicated right now, we go to this particular part, view, and we turn on the formula bar. So on the formula bar, we can go ahead and use the equal sign. So we go to our analysis and we go for the peak hour. So this is the peak hour. We get this and we hit our enter key. So right now we have gotten this, right? I can bring it right here. So I want to use the same font size here and everything. So get the format and give it to this. So we have this. So we can set it down right here. Okay. Then let's get it duplicated and push this right here. So for the time being, we're just going to go ahead and get our off-peak hour. So here we go. We have it. So showing this on our dashboard makes it look much more, better to channel our resources to the right direction. You get it right now. So this is what we actually have, and this looks much more better. So you can decide to shift this around here. So just shift this around, format it nicely to look great the way you want it. Just take your time to do all of this if you want to have good work. So take your time to do all of this. So this is exactly what we want to do here. And you have seen how we got this done. Sometimes the creation of the analysis, the pivot table or the function is not our problem. Our problem is how can we actually show this on our dashboard to make it look better. If you look at it right now, we have the same information. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So what I'm saying now is this. We have same information in here. So we're not going to bring something like Weekday into this particular one. This information has to do with time. So we keep them grouped together, and that is all you need to do. So always group the information or the charts, the analysis, the KPI that should be grouped together should always be grouped together. Don't mix it up. That is why we are creating two types of dashboard for this, so we don't have to cram. So cram up all information in one single dashboard. That would be awkward. So we don't have to do any of that. So for that, this is what we're going to do right here. And I believe you have learned one or two things that you can actually implement on your own personal project. So let's keep going. The next thing we want to do right now is to verify our visual. If what we have done right here is okay, is good, and is perfect. So what I'm going to do is to actually get a tool to screenshot. So this particular tool could be gotten when you search like this through your window, you search snippet tool. Now you have this particular tool. I already have it right here. So what you're going to do is to click on new. This helps you to take a screenshot if you're using Windows. So you can take a screenshot of just this particular part right here. Just this part. So we've taken the screenshot of this. So I'm going to save this one somewhere on my PC that I can pick up the screenshot when I like it. So I'm going to save it here. So remember where you have saved it in. So the next thing now is to come right here. I have this chart I'm going to give to you. It's data decision analysis. It's what I created myself, and it will help you to analyze the data when using GPT-4. So this thing we're about to do is only applicable for people using the paid version or the GPT Plus. That is $20 per month. So if you're not using that paid version, you can't use it. But right here, I'm using the paid version, so I can actually utilize this. So let's see what I'm going to do. I'll come over here and click on this part. I'll go ahead and get the image or the screenshot I've created. So here we go. It has been loaded. So the question I'm going to ask now is, we're going to take one of it. Just remove one of it, a duplicate, okay? So let's see what is the question we're going to ask. So I'll be like, what do you, okay? I would just like, is this a best? Practice. That is just what I'll do. I'll hit my enter and wait for the response of my prompt. So here we have it. So it's trying to go through it. This is what the system would do. It's just like you have somebody that you job shadowed at work, and every single time you have done something, you want to show him or her if what you have done is great. So with GPT-4, you can do something like that. Now we are asking if what we have done here is great. So we're going to put our whole dashboard to ask if we have any information not placed the right way. But this time around, we are doing it individually. Just this section, we want to verify what is going on. So let us read through what this is. Here it says, the visualization you have provided appears to be a dashboard element showing bus utilization by time range with additional information on peak and off-peak hours. To assess whether this visualization aligns with the best practice, we can consider several aspects. So let's see some of the aspects it considered. So clarity and readability. The chart is clear. That is a good mark. So, and the number are really readable. So you have to make your chart cool. The color and the numbers should be readable. Over here, it says the time range are specified and the corresponding passenger count are visible next to the bars, which is great. So we have data ink ratio. The use of space seems efficient with minimal extraneous graphics rather. So which is good as per Edward Tufts' principle of maximizing the data ink ratio. So that is a good thing. So usage, color usage. The color usage right now is about our dashboard, color, the cards and everything. So the color usage, the color scheme is consistent and not overwhelming, which is good for interpreting the data without this distraction. Information hierarchy. The most important data, the passenger count, is immediately visible, which follows the principle of highlighting the most important information. That is under pass mark. So let us come to the time representation. So time is represented in a way that seems logical for bus utilization, segmenting the day into meaningful ranges that would correspond to topical patterns of use. So additional context. So you can just read through this. And you look at what GPT is doing. I love this a lot. Whenever you put something right here, it's not only giving you credit, it's actually giving you some kind of recommendation, what you can do to make it better. So here it says, however, there are also areas that could potentially be improved or might need clarification, consistent in time format, scale, or interactivity. So we have the comparative analysis, legend. So all this is when we have legend to show, we should always show legend. We don't have legend. So interactivity, we're going to use slicer, scale, the axis and stuff like that. All of this is what we're going to put into consideration, but it does not affect our current visualization. So we have just verified this and it's cool. Let me show you something. What if I click on this now? And for the time being, I'm going to go ahead and change the color to something like this. Change the color to something like this. And I'll click over here. I will use a color that does not really pop out very well. Can you see it now? GPT is going to actually find out all of this immediately. So I'm going to take a screenshot of what I've done right now and take it back to GPT. So don't forget your snippet tool. Search for it and use it. So we are taking a wrong one to GPT now, which means if you're doing things wrong, how would GPT find out and actually show you how to improve it and all of that? So now we go down to GPT. So we are here. All I'm just going to do is to load this in. So if I still ask the same question, is this best practice? Let's see what it will be like. So now it's talking about area for improvement. So you can see it does not say much about this in a positive way. Instead, it's actually some kind of castigating what we have and giving us areas to some kind of improve. You understand? So since simplicity, the chart is straightforward. That chart we have chosen is okay, but the color is bad. The data label on the bars make it easy to read, which is very well understood. Clear title, we have clear title. Visually distinct time, everything looks okay. Then when we come here, we have more areas. So the axis, the consistent time, the color contrast. So while the dark theme can be slick, there must be sufficient contrast to ensure readability of all users, including those with visual, impairment, wherever. So now look at this. This particular part alone is what I want to think of. Let's go back here. So if you look at it now, if somebody gives you this, it's going to be very hard for you to read through it because the color is not really okay, it's bad. So I'm going to take it back to the previous version, something like this. This looks more clearer. So if you can identify it, GPT would. If you can't identify it, GPT will help you identify it and tell you what to improve on. So this is how you can actually use GPT to some kind of, try to look at what it is that you have done, if it is the best practice, if you have something to improve on and stuff like that. So we don't have something to improve on right here. Like in the improvement part of it, it's talking about legend. So we don't have any legend here. Legend is when you have more things in the axis that you have to control and show what color belongs to which and all of that. And everything looks quite fun right here. So do this kind of verification when you have the GPT Plus. It will definitely help you to create an outstanding report or dashboard in both Excel, Power BI, Tableau, or any tool you have chosen for your analysis at all. All right, in our next analysis, we're going to look at the total riders on yearly basis. So which is creating the yearly distribution. How many riders or passengers do we have in this particular year to the year, stuff like that. So we don't have much years in our data set. We only have 2 years of data, which is going to be 2023, 2024. So we just have these 2 years right here. So we're going to be looking at the year-over-year change, right? So the percentage is what we're going to take a look at. So percentage of year-over-year change. And the next thing we're going to do is to actually add what we call caption. So caption will help us to read what the percentage and what the chart is actually all about, to see if there is room for improvement and stuff like that. So I always love to add this caption to my work every single time I'm working with data. So let's find out how this could be created. So we're back right here. The next thing is for we to go back to this particular part here. All right. So we are here. I'm going to complete this particular part. So let's do this. Okay, nicely done. So what if I just copy this one from here? So I've copied this one. So we're going to begin a new analysis over here. So paste this in. So what we want to do right now is to look at our yearly basis analysis, right? So I'm going to bring up my field list. So you can go to the top ribbon and you click on pivot table. And here we have the field list. So we have the field list here. So with the field list up, we can actually click on this. And now we remove this from here. So what we're going to bring in now is the year. So the year is found in the date table. So where is our date table? Our date table is this one here, and we both created this together the other time, if you could still remember vividly. So now I will find my year, and this is my year over here. So because we have the year as a number, the year is going to the wrong place, right? The value place. So we need to push the year from where it is right now to where we can utilize it. So I'm going to push it away from here to this particular part, and it gives you something like this. You get it? So the next thing I'm going to do now is this. I would create another one of this. Just copy. If I hold my control key, I have this copy mode activated for me. Then I'll shift it and I'll copy this. You get it right now. So we can create our percentage of year-over-year change ourselves. We can as well use pivot table to get it done. So depends on what you really want to actually achieve. So let's do both of them. If need be, we can actually show it in both. So right here, we have this particular one that we're going to use to create our chart. Then the next one here, we have this one, which could tell us our year-over-year change. It doesn't really matter. We can even do them in one place. So what you do is to actually further drag in total riders or passengers here. So go to calculations. And we bring total riders again to here, which means this one is not really important, that we should create the second one, if that is what you want. But if for the chart purpose, we can keep this one for our chart and keep one. So let's still go ahead and use this one. So this one here is for a chart. This one is for a percentage. All you have to do is to right click and you go over to view as this. So we have different from. So different from, if we do this now, it's going to give us this. It doesn't really make any sense. So instead, what I will do now, for you to see what is going on here, I would love to include this particular total riders once more. So total riders is under calculation. So I'll include it once more again. I can shift this to this part. Now I can right click and go to show value as, then percentage difference is what I'm going to do. So when I show percentage difference between 2023 and 24, so we are going to have something like this, just one single listing. So we are doing this because we are dealing with, a few years of data. So when we are dealing with like 3 to 5 years or even 10 to 20 years, so we're going to have a list of difference here. So we just have one, and we want to find means to actually visualize this. Now we have gotten this created. So what do we do next? It is time for we to actually see how we can visualize it. So the thing again is this: what if we don't want to use pivot table? How do we get this same number here? Let me show you how you could get that with Excel formula. So we're going to put our equal sign here, open a bracket. So with the bracket open, 2024 is the latest one. So I'm going to click on it. I'm going to subtract the previous year from it. Then I will close this and divide it by the same previous year here. So once I've done that, I'm going to hit my enter and Control 1, go over to where we have percentage, and we have this. Okay, so we have the same thing. So what we have used pivot table to actually do using percentage of difference is what we have just used Excel formula to do right now. Very simple and easy. Okay, what if I just pick this one now, move it down, and I'm going to say year over year PCT for percentage change. Okay, now the next thing is for me to create what I call indicator. Here is going to be my indicator. So this indicator will show arrow up and down. If we are good, arrow up. If we are bad, like now is -8 something, it's going to be bad, so it's going to be down arrow. So we need to insert those arrow. Your Windows key, Windows key on your keyboard, if you're using Windows, hold the Windows key down and the full stop will give you something like this. It's very simple and easy. So let us go to this particular third one here. And now we scroll down to find the arrows we are going to use. We have different arrows here. I would love to use this one that's been inserted for me. I want to look for the one that is going down or what. So this one here. So I can now click on cancel. Now I don't want to combine them here. Instead, I'm going to do Ctrl X to cut it and keep this one here. So we have up and down arrow. So for the indicator now, we want to see which indicator is going to be utilized. How do we do this? Okay, so over here, I'm going to use a function to get it done. So I want you to see what I'm doing nicely. Let me zoom closely to you to see, okay, something like this. Okay, for the indicator here, so I'm going to do equals. So using the if function, I'm going to say if this particular percentage here is less than 0. So what I want to see the arrow down. Oh, sorry, my comma is absent. So I want to see the arrow down. Otherwise, give me the up arrow. So just click and hit enter. So now we have the arrow down. Let us just test it out and do like 20%. So now we have the arrow up. So I'm going to Ctrl Z to bring back the formula I have in it. So this is what we have exactly. You get it right now. So before we move away from here, so we are going to do something. So I have what I call caption, if you have not forgotten that. So let's call this caption. So for the caption here, so we are going to look at what is on this percentage to configure a caption. So with the equal sign, I'm going to do if. So using this if now, it's going to ask this question. If this one is actually less than 0, then we want to show this caption. Year over year, Y-O-Y. So change suggests room for improvement. Otherwise, close this and put your comma if the result is false. So we're going to do inside the double quotes, we are doing well on the current year. So this is what you should know how to do. It's very simple, not that complex. So you can see, because it is arrowed down and is minus 83%, so it's saying year over year change suggests room for improvement, which is something very great. So we have achieved all of this. The next thing right now is to look at how we can actually make the visual to look some kind of very much appealing. So let's do that in the next video. It is high time to represent what we have done here inside our dashboard. So if you were the one, what will you do? Let's go ahead and try to look at what we're going to do. Okay, for the first time, what I'm going to do now is to create my chart from here. So I can go over here. So right now, let us look at if Excel will be able to understand this data and give us the right chart. So what I have in mind to use is a line chart, not actually a column or a bar chart. Let's find out. So you can see, this is not bad, but in the normal circumstances, a line chart is what you should use for this. So the suggestion does not really match what we have in mind. So I want to use this chart. Later, after all, I'll change it to a line chart. After we might have verified using GPT to like, if this is cool, then it's just for we to learn and show ourselves how GPT can actually enhance our development when it comes to report and dashboard. Let's keep this in there. Okay. Now, what we need to do is to remove all the axes right here, right? So I will just right click. If you click on remove, it removes all your chart for you. Control Z. Instead, what you need to do, right click and click on hide. It hides everything. So we get this one off. We take this off as well. Then the grid lines should be gone. And the title here, we don't want to keep it because we are going to create ours. So quickly, I can put on my data label. And over here now, we can take this to our dashboard environment. Control X. So we are down here. So pasting it here, I will move this to this part. So go over here now, go to view, from view, turn off the formula bar to create more space here. So with more space here, all I'm going to do is to click on this and Control D to duplicate it. And I'll bring this down. So create a white space below here. And now we bring this way. So this is what we actually want to have. Okay. With this now, we can manage this here by making it a bit smaller, like this. Set it. Okay. Now we have to right click and bring to front. Bring to front. Then it will not go behind this. So we keep this right here. So quickly, what we need to do, double click on it, and this one comes up. The border should be gone, and the fill color as well should be gone. Then we click on this chart itself. We go over here, so we get this color used. So for the x-axis here, we want to change the text color to match the previous one. Let's go with this. Right? Then this color, we change it. Let's go with this. All right. So we have this. we want to ask question about this chart right now to see if what we have done here is right, and if there is any suggestion we could actually use to improve this. So first of all, before we do that, I would love to put a title, duplicate the previous one, have it here, and just edit it. So what I'm going to do now is to say total riders, yearly distribution. Okay, so we have this now. I'm going to keep it here. I'll get a circle, Ctrl D to duplicate it. I'll move it around here just to beautify it. So my chart here should be shifted a little bit. So what can you do to get this chart look okay? Click inside it and you see this particular part. You just take it down a little bit. Now this one should be taken care of by moving it like this. Now we can take a screenshot of this. So we're going to tell GPT to read this for us. Although I know what I should do, but in case you don't know what you should do or any scenario that you don't know how it could actually go, you can always ask GPT to come to your aid when it comes to that. So we are back here. I'm going to bring in that image. Its caption here. So if I just hit my enter key, it's going to use the previous prompt because this is related to the images I had been bringing in here. So hitting my enter key right now. Oh, now my enter key, what is going on? Okay, let's see. It's going to go through the image and start to tell us what we need to improve, if this is right or whatever. So let's give it some time. So it's going through it. Just give it some time to give you everything you need to know and improve this chart. So as it is going through this right now, I will go ahead and change the chart. So, and further come back right here and feed it in, the chart I've just changed. So to change this chart right now, what you can do is to right click inside the chart and select change chart type. So we go to a line chart. Here we have this. So with a line chart, here this one, we have top. Quickly, we change the line to this same color. That is better. So for this particular data label, we want to go above. So we click on data label, click on this, and we send it above. This is great, right? So we have gotten a new one. Quickly, we get this. Why is it not up yet? So we click on save. We save to the same location and we'll replace this previous one we have used here. Now it's done doing all of this. So you can go through all you have right here to look at what it is that you have to improve on. You understand? So you can further ask question. What is the best chart to use for year, comma, month, etc. So now it's going to suggest you the kind of chart that could be used for it. And the best one is what we're going to go with. Now, the first one it suggested was a line chart, which means a line chart is going to be great for this. What happens and why do we say line chart is great? Because previously, before now, I have said the best chart to be used was a line chart. So it shows you up and down, trend. That is why a line chart is always great for this. So let's scroll up and take a look at what it is. So here now it says line chart, best for showing trend over time. So trend over time has to do with year, quarter, month, and weekdays, right? So use cases when you want to compare discrete time periods or categories such as monthly, sales figure, or yearly enrollment number. So you can use a line chart. It's great. That doesn't mean the chart we have used previously before now was totally bad, but still, if we use a line chart, it gives us more context than whatever we think of. So what I'm going to do now is to bring in this new chart I've just created. So using a line chart. So I'm going to say here is an improvement. Check it out. So we have fed in GPT with a different thing. So it says the improvement, the improved visualization you have uploaded is not valuable to me directly. However, if it's intends to show a total rider yearly distribution and is designed based on best practice for data visualization, I can provide some guideline on what should be identified and stuff like that. So we have used the line chart here, and all of this is what we should read through to actually improve this more. So the clear title. So the title should be clearly indicate, what the visualization is showing, which seems to be the case with total rider. Total riders yearly distribution. That is numbers of riders on every single year. So legible label. Any labels for the years and the riders total should be easy to read and understand. So we have all of this and everything is actually quite well. So now with all of this, if we have ascertained ourselves using GPT, we can continue adding more things right here. So how do we display our, what do I call it? Our year-over-year change is important. But before we go into that, let us click on this particular white that is at the x-axis here. Go to this particular part and go to solid line, and we change the color of this to something like this. So it appears this way, and this is great. Now it is time for we to show our year-over-year change. So I'm just going to get this particular distribution here, or the title here, doubled or duplicated. So I will type in here year-over-year change. So I'm going to keep it somewhere around here. So I can decide to make it a bit smaller. Okay, this looks great. Control D to duplicate it. The duplicated version should come here. Go to the top ribbon, go to View. From View, click on Formula Bars. Now we're going to get the percentage. Here is the percentage. So we have our percentage here. So let's give it the same font. Go to home and format painter. Here we go. Very visible. Right? So now we click on duplicate, Ctrl D. We go back here. This time around, we're going to pick up our arrow up and down. This is the dynamic one. This one are static, but this is going to fit from both of this arrow up and down here. You can't delete it. So over here, we hit the enter key. So we can actually show this in any color of our choice. Let's do something bright. Okay, like this color is cool. So we can increase it. It's like a text. Can you see? This can be increased. So here we go. So it's showing us arrow down. So after doing all of this now, the next thing I'm going to do is to actually go to the top ribbon again. Now go to insert and go to illustrations. From there, go to shapes and pick up this particular rounded corner and drag it down. Keep it right here. So bring this down. So the rounded corner should be maintained, not too much. Then we go to the gradient. So with the gradient, we can change the position we have. So you can just play around with this and see which one is going to work best for you. So once you play around with it, whatever you actually choose, you can some kind of play around with this right here. So what I'll do now is to take off one of the stops. So I'm going to take off under stop again. I have two stops. So one of my stops will go with this color, right? So I would love to take the color, interchange it, do something like this. So I will add another color here that will darken this. Keep adding, add more color that will darken this one. So click on this particular part here and change the color of this. Change the color of this to be more darker than this. Oh no. Okay, let me remove that step. Something like this looks cool. So we can, this one is not relevant. So we can now do this. So this is great. Can you see? This is how we got this created. So if you look at it now, it has a blue line. So we just go ahead to line and turn off the line. No line. So now we are going to be left with this. So I'm going to duplicate this same one here. Ctrl D. Then I'll come over here. This is where we're going to put in, just widen it. Widen this one. So this is where our caption goes into. So caption, here we go. So we have a caption here. Go over here. Now for our caption, we can change the caption color to white. And it's going to be on white. So we just expand it to have something like this. Let us decrease it a little bit. Okay, this looks cool. Now, if you look at this now, this is some kind of cool. Year-over-year change suggests room for improvement. That was because this one is down. Always look for something that can support your chart, your numbers, your KPI, that will help it much more readable. So with this now, I love using icons a lot. So it is time for me to get an icon here. Before the icon comes, what I'm going to do is to go to the top ribbon again, go to insert and click on illustrations, then click on shapes, then click on this circle. So to draw a perfect circle, you need to hold your shift key down before you drag. So we have this like this. I can put this right here. So with this, I will first of all go to this and take off the line. Come right here. I'm going to change the black to this black. So I have something like this. So I want to show something that depicts inside. So let us try to see if we can see a light bulb from these particular icons we have here. So you want to make sure you are connected on the internet. So let's type in bulb. So we have a bulb, a light bulb here. We can pick this light bulb and click on insert. And now we have it here. Oh no, sorry. So click on the light bulb to move it. So shrink the light bulb. So on this one, we can change the color. When we take in the inbuilt icons from here, we can change the color using the fill. But when we go to external site, you can only change the color through this particular part here. So we can do the same thing right here, but what if we just do the color changing using this one? I'm going to use something like this, right? So make it a bit brighter. So reduce the. So now we have this. So it depicts insight, and this is great. So it makes our chart looks much more beautiful, and we are actually going very, beautiful on this dashboard. So I can just move this a bit. So what about this? So if you were asked before to some kind of visualize this, you were gonna have start thinking, how do I do all of this? Now you can see that it's easy. It's not something complicated at all. So this is what you should do. Always verify your visual using GPT, read through it and actually make some improvement. Use color that complements the background that you have so that everything you have on the background will pop. That is what you should be doing. So even though if you're using a dark background, it will be very easy to be read by people who doesn't even like the dark one. So you can make them to have much more interest using the dark version of background and stuff like that. Okay, let's see what we can do in the next video. In this particular part, we're going to look at the monthly trend. Not just this, we want to take a look at the weekday trend by total passengers. So this place has to be something we have to put more focus, because it's not just like the usual chart that you and I create when we just want to run some simple analysis. So this weekday contains something like Sunday, it contains Monday, it contains Tuesday, it contains Wednesday, then Thursday, and Friday plus Saturday finally. Right. So what we want to do right now, we want to check which of these weekdays we have passengers above the total average. So what is the average? The average is the average of the whole numbers of passengers. So any week that goes above the average, that week is a good week for us. So what we're going to do right now is okay, if this week should go like this, Sunday here goes above average, we want to see green. For example, I'm just saying this is not the actual color we're going to use, but we have our own specific color. If this particular Tuesday here went above average, we want to use this color. So if the rest of the weekdays does not go above the average, they are below the average, we're going to have this particular color. So this color would easily identify those weekdays that went above average, which is pretty nice. So this is exactly what we're about to create, and very interesting. Let's go ahead and get it. So we're right here. The very first thing we're going to do is to actually create a chart, or a pivot table rather. So right here, we have just the total riders or passengers. I'm going to push into it the day name, which is the weekday itself. So if you look at my weekday, it's not actually properly, on the right settings. So this is not just pivot table. This is a pivot table with power pivot where we have, normalized table, right? And we created our own day table. We can correct this. But before we have this corrected, let us create a chart and look at how this would look in a chart. Insert, and I'm going to go ahead and click on this, then bring up this particular chart right here. So let us look at something here. What is going on? If you look at this chart now, to you is okay. So, but something is a bit wrong with this chart. Our week does not start from Friday and the week does not end on Wednesday. So the week should start on Saturday. So we have Monday here. So here we should have Tuesday. So we should have Wednesday. Thursday is fine. Friday is here. And we have the Saturday here. Sunday, Monday, and all of that. But it's not the way it should be. How can we reset this? Do we have any magic to have it done in this particular interface, which is the pivot table right here? I guess no. There is no way we can have this corrected here. Okay, I want to minimize, just make this a bit smaller and keep it around here. So for the time being. Now, I want you to watch what exactly we have. I think I can get this one disappeared now. Then I can move this right here. Okay, look at what we have here now from Friday to Wednesday, or you can just take a look at this particular part and this part. So to have this corrected, all you have to do is to go back to your relationship path, which is your power pivot. So we click on it, we go over here to in manage. So under manage, we are on the date table. In case you're not on the date table, look for the date table here. So look for the name, the day name, or I can call this weekday. I can change it to a weekday. But the thing is this, I wouldn't be allowed to change this right here, except we go back to Power Query. So let us try it. So if I hit my enter, let's see what it is. I told you. So this table was created by a query. To change this table, change the query instead. If this were in Power BI, you will be able to do it in Power BI. After you left Power Query, you can make any changes you want to make and it will reflect back to Power Query. But right here in Excel, it's never like that. So what I'm going to do right now is to make sure I have this highlighted, this very column. So if you look at this column here, we call it week number. So the week number has number that corresponds to every single weekdays. So we're going to use that to sort this and everything will look fine. So highlight the column you want to sort. So when you come over here under sort and filter, you click on sort by and we'll click on sort by column here. Then we have this up. Already we have selected the this one. Then the next one now we're going to do is to some kind of select the next column. And that column is going to be week number here. Then this one. Then once you have done that, just click on OK and wait for it to reset. So we can't really tell if everything is okay right now. All we can do is to go back to Excel. Click on the Excel icon here and it will exit you and bring you back here. So now the setting is done. This is exactly what we are looking for. But unfortunately, we aren't going to use this chart. I can just go ahead and remove this chart right now. Okay, with the chart being removed, so we're about to create a new chart. So this new chart is going to be the chart that definitely show if we go above average or we go below average, which is something we have discussed previously before now. So how do we get that done? The very first thing I'm going to do is to make sure I reference this particular one right here. So once you have it referenced, you can some kind of copy it down and copy it this way. So you can just double click on this and you have this. So with this done, what is the next step we can take to get what we want done? The next step we can take right now is to average all of this number we have here. So remember, we're not using the pivot table again. The pivot table has been linked, or we have linked this one to the pivot table rather. So over here now, we are going to add a new column. So that column will actually be the average. So with this average column here, I think I would love to select and contribute to bold it. That would make the header to be stand out. So what I'm going to do right now is to use the average function. To average, just do equals average. So with the average here, number one, I'm going to just do all of this. I have this averaged. So now that I've gotten this average, what I'm going to do is to close and do my freeze. So which means I have to lock this down with my $sign here. I have it done, 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 and done here. So if I hit my enter key, that gives me 941. So I can copy this down and it will be the same number. So what happens if we don't do that? If I double click right now, we are still looking at this. So what will happen if we did not do that? Let me show you what will happen. I can do the same average here, and I'm going to reference this particular range, close and hit my enter key. It gives me the same thing. But the problem is going to be when we start copying down, the result will be different. Can you see it now? It looks weird. And what we actually want to return is the exact number that we have for the overall average. And we have just done that. So the next thing we're going to do right now is to find above average. So I'm going to type in here, above average. So this above average is like we're trying to look at what are the top 3 weeks that went above average. We're not even looking at the top 3. This time around, we don't even need to look at if it is top 3 or top 2. We're going to just make it dynamic, and it will pick up if we have 3 or 4 weekdays that went above average. It will just pick it. So what function do you think we can use for that? With our equal sign, we use the if function. So with the if function, we're going to get a logical test, which is going to be this right here. If it is greater than this, definitely we want to return this. Otherwise, give us nothing but blank. So hit enter. So this is greater than 941. I can just go ahead and copy this down. And you see, we only have 3 weekdays, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, to be above average. And one beautiful thing is that this is going to be very much dynamic. You get it right now? Very, very much dynamic. Whenever we play the filter or a slicer on it, and this particular week became higher than this particular week, then you see the number reflect over here. This is exactly what you need to create. Okay. The question is this: can we just select all of this and create a chart with it? I guess no, we can't. So all I'm going to do right now, let's just try it and see. Maybe it will work this time around. I'm going to go with this. So what do you have? You have blank. So in that case, we can't use this. So what I can do for the first time to get this done is just highlight this 2 and go over to insert. From insert, you click on this and you click on this. Okay, let's close this one first. Okay, this axis here is not needed. I can remove the axis. For the title, we do not need to keep it. And for the grid lines, I can take them off. So make it small a little bit, shift it here. Now we can see the ones that are not included, and those ones that are included are highlighted, right? So what we're going to do right now, we want to include the average. So I'm going to right click on it, and I will actually select data. So with the select data now, what we can do is to actually click on add. So add a series name, the top one here, and make sure you take off this and select all of this here. Now you click on OK. Don't bother about what you see. It's going to be cool after all. So I'm going to click on add again. So the series name, this one above, is very important. Make sure you put it, very, very important. So make it dynamic. Don't type it in. The next one is to select down to where we don't even have, values right on. Make sure you select everything. Now, this is what we have. So I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. So the next thing is, how do we use this? So I will just right click. Then I am going to select change. I'm going to select change chart type. Is that what I'm going to select? Yes, let's do that. Change chart type. Okay, if you look at it now, this is the series name here. This is the main bar. The one that is in dark blue is the main bar. And the average line here, the average one here is going to be a line, not this kind of chart. So we're going to click on cluster column and we choose the line chart. So there is a big difference between this line chart and this one. This one is going to give you this dot. If you want that, you can choose it. If I go with this one here, it will bring it below. This is not what we want. So select what I've selected. Let us go with this particular smooth line. So after I've gotten this, we can just go ahead and click on OK. Then this is what we want to get. But right away, it's not looking anyway nice, beautiful, and this is not exactly what we should be expecting to see. We have to make some, changes. So what you can do now is to Control 1. That brings this up. So click on this now and go over here and now click on this to make it a bit thicker. Okay, I'm going to cut this off from here down to my dashboard. So we are right on our dashboard. I'll paste this over here. So with this one pasted, let me move this away down to this part. Okay, let's just have it somewhere around here. So I'm going to just expand this for we to see it better. Now, what you can do now, I want to maintain the same gap width with this. So it's 84. I'm going to click on this one. I'm going to get 84 as well. So it's going to be 84. So I have 84, which is great. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to overlap this. Give it 100%. This gives you this. So you have seen what I've done. You overlap it. Okay. Once you have gotten this overlapped, what is next? So what is next now is to okay, how do you want, or what color do you want to use to actually show this particular, above average and below average? So for the ones that are above average, I want to use this color. For the one that is below average, I'm going to use a different color. So when you select this one that has some kind of above average, you see only the 3 are selected. The rest are some kind of excluded. So I'm going to click on the color, click on fill. I'm going to come over here. I'll choose this color. So where we went below average, we can choose a different color for it. So what if we go with this kind of color? So we look for a lighter color. We go with this. Beautiful. This will go along with our dashboard. Okay. The next one is going to be the line chart right here. We don't want this color to be here. We want to change the color. So we quickly go to the line and let's choose something like this as well. Then the thickness seems to be some kind of too much. So we can reduce the thickness. So the width, it looks some kind of thin, and we can choose to use something like this. What about this? This looks great. So our chart is taking shape and I love it the way it is right now. The next thing we have to do right now is to actually include our data label. But don't do this mistake to actually click on this and include the data label from here. That will only include data label for the selected one. And it will give 0 to those one, which is awkward. So what can we do instead? Select this particular one here. So that selects every single thing for you, both the one behind this one. Then click on your data label. And this is what you have. So on the data label here, I can click on it and click on the inside base if you want that, end if you want it, and outside end. So I want to use the one that says outside end, and I'm going to have something like this. Okay, we're done with this. The next thing we have to do right now is to make sure we remove the background we have on it, no fill, and there should be no line. So this is not looking great yet. That was because we are some kind of using the normal background. So we have to put a card in here. So I'm going to get this duplicated. Ctrl D, then bring this right here, reduce it. Okay. And reduce this. So to make sure it's taking, is going to be the same height. I can push this one to the top. Once I've done that, I'll click on this here. I'll go to the top ribbon. I'll click on shape. I'll go over to align, and I'm going to align this bottom, right? So that gives you equal justification right here, and right to the bottom is cool. Okay, this is where playing around with this comes to play. So now what we have behind here now seems to look a bit awkward with what we have done. So I'm going to play around with the color we have here. So it seems not to be this one, but instead this very one here. Then let's play around with the color we have. So we give it some kind of a brighter color over there. So I'm going to click on this one. I'm going to select something bright like this. So if you can see now, it has given us some kind of good view of what we're looking forward to seeing. Okay, now I'm just going to make sure I take this down this way. So this is what we actually have right now. And this particular chart is going to sit right here. Okay, it's going behind it. What can we do? Quickly, we just right click. And we're going to see where it says bring to front. So once we have the bring to front, click done. We can reduce this and push it in here. So this will come into here. So reduce it a little bit. And now it's looking a bit beautiful, but not very much based on what we expected to see. So what we can do now is to first of all click on this one, go to text option and click over here. So look for a brighter color that will pop out and use it. So look for any color that will pop out from the background and use it. I would love to use this color. Okay, if you look at it now, it looks very sharp and cool. So let's justify it with what we have here. So this still some kind of look more, has more weight than this. So we can now click on this and go to the width and do something like this. So what about this? This looks some kind of okay. If you are not cool with the color you have right here, remember you can play around with the color. So go over here and click on this one here. So let's select something much more brighter if that is what we want. If we want something darker a little bit, we can select this one, and this looks some kind of very calm, which is better, right? So I love this. It goes along with what we really want, but that is not all. We do not have title for it, and we have some caption we have to put right in here, which will come next. Now we need to create the title and as well the caption, but let's go for the caption first. So click on your analysis and we can do a caption below here. It's okay. So I'm going to type in here caption. So below here, what I'm going to do right now is to I want to have a caption that give more information to the highlighted charts. So what I'm going to do with my equal sign and double quotes here, I'm going to say, right, you know what? Focus on, so let me emphasize it using capital letter. So highlighted. Weekdays. So they exceeded D. Now we're going to stop it this way. We want this to be some kind of dynamic. So I'm going to do close, then now and ampersand here, which shows that we want to concatenate something. What do we want to concatenate? This particular average here. You understand? Then once we've done that, we close the concatenator here and we continue our text again. So right here, what I'm going to do now is going to be including passengers. So here I'm going to say passengers average and account for. So where we have account for, we can close the quotes and now do under concatenation. So this concatenation, now we need to look at the percentage that the average added. So what can we do now? We have to find means to some kind of suspend this. I think, yes. So we have suspended this now. It not give us any error. So this way, when we are done, we can remove what we added here and we'll continue our text. So first of all, what I'm going to do right now is to actually look for the percentage of the average. You get it now. So to find the percentage of the average that went above the weekdays that went above the average, what we can do now, I'm going to do that below here. Below here is going to be above average percentage. Okay, so we have that calculation done below here. What we're going to do right now is to use the sum function. So the sum function is going to sum this value. This is the minimum value. We sum this and we divide it. Just go ahead and close it, divide it by the sum of all of this. Do not include the average. We are only trying to find the percentage of the weekdays that went above average, and those are the numbers for the weekdays, and this is the total number. So we look for the percentage. So now I do Ctrl+1, I go over here to percentage, and I see this percentage. I can come here. So which means 49.3% were attributed to the weekdays that went above average. So we have to continue writing our caption now. Double click now and take this off. That activates this formula for you. So where I have my ampersand now, we are going to concatenate the new percentage created right away. So to those of you that want to know what will happen when we just reference this particular percentage right here, I want to show you that for now, I wouldn't format it. I will leave it this way. So we are going to close this and we continue our text using under open bracket. So when you open, under open double quotes, when you actually insert new double quotes and you want to have text inside it, please tap on the shift key to have a space. Otherwise, it will cluster your text together. Okay, I'm going to say off. I think it's of the total passengers. So here I hit my enter key. So you wouldn't see what we have done now, how visible it is. Let's go here. And now I can copy anything I have used previously before now from here. I will bring it down here. Now go ahead and turn on the formula bar. Formula bar here. So let us put our equal sign and reference this and hit the enter key. Okay, so to have the same color, I can now click and go to home and choose the format painter here. So we have this. So can you see what is going on here? It says focus on highlighted weekdays, which is this one here. We can measure the color that is used to highlight this. So if you want to measure the color and cannot remember what color is this, what you can do now is to go to the top ribbon here, click over here, and you select it, just highlight this. Now it tells you what color it is. Although we're not trying to use it, I'm just saying. So if you want to add more context now, you can say focus on the highlighted color, highlighted weekdays. You call the specific color, but I just want to leave that. You can put that on your own to make it much more easier. So they exceeded the 941 passengers average and accounted for 49% of the total passengers. But the percentage here is not showing as a percentage. Why? but we did reference the same thing. Let's go ahead and correct it. So what you do now is to click over analysis and double click on this caption. This is the average number. Here is actually our percentage. So for percentage now, we have what we call text function. We go over here, we put a comma, and now inside double quotes, we are going to do 0.0% and close the double quotes and hit the enter key. Oh, it seems I've messed something up. That is double quotes. Now we have to close our text. The bracket should be closed. So let's go back and check it out. Now it has turned this into 49.4%. If you want to make it approximate, you can just do it, but it cannot be 49 or it cannot be 50% right now. It's still going to be 49, but let us look at the decimal after the 49, which is great. So we have done this now. The next thing we have to do is to look at how we can make sure this sits right on our this thing here. So I can just reduce this, can bring this here, just this way, and I will do something like this. So I can click on this one here, click on the middle, and make sure you just take this down a little bit. So this looks great. Then from here now, we can just drop this a little bit down. So once we have done that, we want to get a title. The main title now would come up. For the main title, I'm going to do Ctrl D, and I will bring this here. For the title now, I will just highlight it and I'll say Riders Weekday Distribution. Okay. We have this now. So they look alike. What we can do now is to select this one and go over to here and take it from 11 to something like 10. 10 looks okay. Okay. So I would want to take it off focus a little bit. So let's select this particular. Let's select a bit darker version. Okay, this looks cool. Then it can actually make our, let's select more brighter one over here, over to you. So it will not overshadow the title itself. So the title would show up as well as the caption that we have for it. So here I'm going to push this a little bit in. Then we go over here and Ctrl D to get it duplicated. And we have this here. So to this one I have here, I will do Ctrl 1. I will make sure I use the transparency to transparent it. I don't want to show very much. I'm going to do 56. So I have something like this. 56 is cool, but not bad. What if we do something like 66? Okay, this looks good. It doesn't look too much bright, but this one here, I'm going to leave it the way it is. So select this one and we do 66. So select the same thing on this one here, and I will go ahead and do 66. Okay, this looks great. Now, this is what we want to see. So what is left right now is to look at how to put in the monthly trend. So for the monthly trend, is very simple and easy. We can go over to here. So now we copy the main pivot table we are using. Okay, so I can just have this pasted here. So now we select this, we get this color to demarcate that for us. So for the month, what we can do is to make sure we right click and we bring in the field list. So here we go to day. So we now go to our date table. We pick the month. So month name, we pick it here. So December and January. So we have just 2 months data from 2 years. 1 year contains December, another year contains January. That is how this data is being structured. Okay, what we're going to do right now is to look at how to sort this. Just like what we've done before, it's not something complicated. We go over to this particular pivot table, or power pivot rather, and click on this. And we're on the date table, click on the month. So we have the month number here. So go to sort and sort by. Then you select the column you want to sort it by the month number. Don't choose the wrong one. Then just give it some time to initiate of this for you. So we go back, and now it has started from January down to December, which is absolutely great. Okay, what we're going to do with this is just to create a very simple chart that we're going to use inside our dashboard. Go over to Insert. From Insert, you click on this chart, but now, why don't we use a line chart? So we're going to go with a line chart, this one here. So I'm going to take off what I don't need. Even the title should be moved off. So if you look at it now, this one here should be hidden. Hide it. And for this particular axis here, I want to keep it. You get what I'm saying? I want to keep it. So keeping it now, why are we keeping it? And why is it important? It's important because it guides people through, how do I put this for you? Through the trend and where this is. It is known that it's actually from 1,000. That is what we want to actually do. Okay, now that we have this here, what we can do right now is to show this in 1,000, right? So we can dynamically show it, or we can show it in 1,000. If you want to dynamically show it, let's go right to the dashboard here. Oh, sorry, to the analysis. I'm going to turn this off. So click on this number, Control 1. So we go over here, we scroll down. We already, I presume, do we have that? I thought we've done that. Let's see. Do we have in custom number formatting here? Oh no, we do not have any custom number formatting right here. Not at all. So we cannot get anyone. So what we can do now is to actually create our custom number formatting ourselves, which we can actually do inside here. We can do it inside here without doing it on a sheet or on what we have on sheet. So we can have it done right here. So let us try one and see what we can do. So you can just like right click and click on Format Axis. This would come up. Once this pops up, what we can do right now is don't use this, use the number instead. And oh, was it number? I guess, yeah, I think it's the number. So we use the number instead. When we use the number, we have to actually show how we want this to go. So come over to number and click on custom. Under custom, you're going to have this. This is the default one we have. I can come here and format how I want this to look. For my Tyson, here is going to be 0, comma, and K in capital letter. We're going to click on add. Now this is what you are going to have. Nicely done, right? So if you want to have in million, in thousand, in trillion, there are more codes you can actually add to get that done for you. So this is what it is. So this one looks more simpler, not too huge. You can reduce how this looks like. So let us quickly get this one removed. And I'm going to go ahead and just minimize this and take it up to our dashboard. So we are right here. We're going to keep this right here. So we'll bring this and turn off this, and click on this and click over here and pick this particular color. And now we click on this one, go to text options. So click over here and let's go with this. And click on this one here. Let's quickly go with this. This is beautiful, right? So now it is time for we to some kind of work on this. So when you click on it, on this particular x-axis, you have the line. So for the line, we can choose what can suit what we want. Oh, no, sorry, we're still on the, let's go right here. So let's go over to this, click on this particular one. So go to line color, scroll down. On that line color, we can choose to use something like this. So if we step off, this is what we see. So we do the same thing to this particular one. So go to here, go to line. So click on this. I think we're using this one, and that counts the color we see down. So now we have this. So what we're going to do now is to some kind of bring this down a little bit and go ahead and take this down a bit as well here. So once we've done that, we can copy this and take it right here. You understand? So this one is going to be monthly, not weekly any longer. So monthly distribution. I'm going to get this duplicated with Ctrl D. And we have this right here. So we're going to shift this one to go a bit closer. This is what we have. So don't forget that we have to add a data label to show up what we have right here. And we come over here and we show above, which is better. So click on this and go to text options. And let's go for our color. The color is going to be something like this. And this is very, very interesting to look at. Okay, what if we look at the those ones here to be too little to see? What can we do? We can increase it by going over here and take it up from 9 to something like 10. This looks much more bold. So we can click on this and we do the same thing to it. We use 10. So we do the same thing to this one as well. So we're going to use 10. That pops it out and make anybody to be able to see what this is like. So click on this one and we go with this particular one here. So once we have done, don't forget to save your work and continue. Otherwise, if your Excel shut down, you've lost your project. So just always save. This is exactly what you need to actually see for now. So as we keep progressing in this, just learn something that you can actually use and apply to your own personal project, which is very, very paramount and important, in this project. This is why we learn to implement what we've learned on our own work, on our own personal project and stuff like that. So now you can see how this could be done, but something is actually missing right here, right now. So why is that? Let's go ahead and double this one. Just bring it over here. I can just minimize it. Then it's going to serve as a divider. So this separates this one and this one. Very interesting to look at. Okay, so this is what you should know, and we'll see in the next one. Okay, let us look at how we can actually create this particular analysis right here, where we look at the bus utilization rate. So what we're trying to look at now is how well are the buses utilized, being underutilized, or they are overutilized. So we want to see the percentages and as well the numbers of buses that are some kind of overutilized, underutilized, or well utilized. So we have a column that supports this. Let us look at that. So over here, if you still remembered in our previous classes, we've had a particular class where we actually created this particular column here. So this column is called our bus utilization category. So we created this using Power Query from this particular percentage we have right here. In case you want to look at that, you can just take a look at the video where we have gotten this created and you see how we have done this. So right now, what we are going to do is to start some kind of analyzing the column itself, right?
So I'm going to shut this one down. So already we have this. I'm going to make sure I copy the previous one from here. Before then, I have to demarcate this to make it clean and stand on its own. All right. So you can highlight this particular area, Ctrl-C to copy, and Ctrl-V to paste right here. So with this one pasted, I'm going to have to go ahead and take off this and take off this particular one, because we are not looking at this in the perspective of how many passengers or riders we have, instead the buses, right? So let's go to all, and we scroll straight down to the fact table. So we'll look at the bus utilization category here, and this is the category card value we have. So now we are not going to drop in any other measure than the number of buses we have actually utilized over time. So unfortunately, we don't have a column like that here, except we want to go to buses and pick up a particular column and default it to the count. So we want to only associate this with the buses that had been in use. So to get that done, what I will do now is to go to the Power Pivot here. From Power Pivot, I can click on this particular measure. Then I'm going to go with new measure. So we have new measure here. My measure should be stored inside calculations. Then over here, I can name my measure. So I can name this measure to be utilize all total buses. All right. So you can give it a description if that is what you want. But right now, the next thing I'm going to do right now is to actually use a distinct count. The question you might have in mind is that, why am I using a distinct count? Why don't I just use the count function to count how many buses we have? Okay, fine. We are using a distinct count. Let me illustrate this to you better before we come back. So I can clear this off from here. Create new. Don't save. So let's say we have this particular table here, and we have this table. This table has to do with the lookup, and this table has to do with the transaction, or still you can call it a fact table. Okay, under the lookup table right here, we have unique list of value. Over here, we have some kind of duplicate value. So from this table, if we have like bus 1, bus 2, and bus 3, bus 4, bus 5 here. So, and you create your count over here. It's going to give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 buses. Then what if those 5 buses did not actually go out on a particular day and only 3 was in use on a particular day? Then when you run your count from here, it's going to give you a wrong calculation. So what do? Remember, every single time we have a transaction for any buses, it's going to actually shift its ID to here. Then for that, it is better for you to count the numbers of buses that involved in transaction inside your fact table where you have your IDs in. So let's say we want to count for today. So remember, we have 5 buses, but today we only utilized 3. So maybe we utilize bus 1, bus 5, and bus 2. Then that is going to be 1, 2, 3. So what do we do here? This one here will be having a duplicate of values inside the transactional table. So when we want to do this now, we use what we call distinct count. So distinct count ignores any duplicate we have inside this table and only return one unique list. So for that, it's going to ignore any of those buses that did not actually operate on that particular day. Now you get it. So let's quickly go right here. So what I'm going to do now is to some kind of use the distinct count here. It's a function inside DAX. So with my distinct count, all I'm going to do is just to type in my fact table. So when I type in fact table, all the columns in the fact table will appear. So all I need to do is to locate where I have my fact table bus ID right in. So I have the bus ID. I can go ahead and close it. So remember, you can always verify to check if what you're doing is right or wrong. So check formula. That shows right. Number, I'm going to use a whole number here. So in case it runs into 1000, we use comma separator and we'll click on OK. So that will be added for us automatically. Can you see? Those are the total number or numbers of buses that we actually have. So now we have gotten this. You might be tempted to like, okay, I want to create a visualization. Let me go to here and recommended chart, and it will recommend this chart for you. This is beautiful. It's not bad. But what if we do something much more better than this to create a little custom, not too much work chart for this? So what I'll do now is just to come here now and say, okay, I want to reference this particular part here. I'm going to drag this down. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to create a percentage, PCT for percentage. And here will be some kind of reminder. Is it remainder? I don't know. Okay. Our percentage PCT left. All right. We have this. The very first thing I'm going to do now is just to some kind of come over here and say equals this particular number by the sum. The sum of what? The sum of this whole number here. So once you have done this, remember, we're going to copy down. We have to actually make sure we lock this down. So once we've done that now, we can hold our control key, hit enter, and it will split everything down for us. So why did we do this? Or how did we just do it without we copying it? That was because we actually selected a cell before. And after we are done typing our formula or function, whatever you want to call it, you just hit the control key and hit the enter key, and that will save you from copying down. Okay, go ahead and control 1, then come over to percentage, and here you go. You can put it on this. You get it now. This is the percentage. So we talk about the percentage left. What we'll do now is just for you to do 1 minus this. Oh, sorry, it has to be equals first. Equals 1 from this. Hit the enter key. That gives you 57% left. So you can copy this down. So here we go. You have this, and here is where we're going to create our chart from. So remember, this one is linked to the top one here. Whatever changes from the top one will definitely affect this one here. Okay. It is time for you to create our first chart. Just highlight this area. Once you've done that, go to the top ribbon here, click on insert, and let's go over here. And now we come over here, we click on this. Okay, with this now, we can just get off all of those ones we don't need. So let me just make it a little bit small. So we need to identify where is our 43%. Remember, 43% is attributed to overutilized, 3% is utilized, is underutilized, and 35% is for well utilized. So at the aggregation of all of those percentages should amount to 100%. Oh, sorry. Why give me a split? Sum. Now we should have 100%. This is what it is. So once you verify and it's not up to 100%, that means something is wrong from your calculation. Okay, now if I hover over it now, this particular color is attributed to this particular percentage left, while this one is our main percentage, which we are looking forward to using to mark the overutilized. So what I'm going to do now is to control 1. So click on this one, the fill color, and double click on this one until this particular color showed up here. Then for now, we select just this color. So we're going to adjust it when we get to the other side of it. So once we've done that now, we need to actually, let us move this one first. So Control X, now Control V over here. So we are right here, we can keep this here. So the next thing I'm going to do now is just for me to some kind of select, let's cancel this one. So let me select this particular part here and Ctrl D to duplicate it. So once duplicated, what I will do now is to some kind of make sure it sits right at a particular part where I really want. So it doesn't matter if it doesn't rhyme up with this one. I'm going to do it individually. So next thing I'm going to do right now is to right click and I'm going to go to group and I will ungroup this. Done, right? So click on it and bring it down. Then delete the one behind it. We don't want that for now. Okay, so okay, I want this to go away. Why is wrong? See the double change. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do now is just some kind of come over here, or let's go over to the top one, hold your Control key to select this one. Once it has been selected, go to the top ribbon and go over to your shape format, go to align and you align top. Beautiful. So we have aligned the top and this is cool. So this particular spacing we have right here is okay. So I can select this now and just adjust it this way. Quite nice. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to extend this one to the bottom like this here. That is nice. Okay. Once we have done that, now it is time for we to get this one and move it away from there. It's going behind. What you can do is just for you to right click and bring to front. Beautiful. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to turn off the fill color, go to the border, turn off the border. Now click on the chart itself, or circle itself, and say no line to it. So now if I step off now, you can see what I have right here. Okay, it is time for we to work around with what we have. The next thing we need to do now is to actually look at the color we want to use. For the first time, I want to use this particular color we have right here. If I click on it now, we go over here, we can find the color being used here. We pick it up. So we have this particular color. So I can minimize this like this. I want to make sure we have two of it. So, but this is too bright. So what I'm going to do now is to just click, go over here and select something more calm than what I have now. So let's go with this one. Now, this some kind of look a bit better, but not very much better. So you can just play around with the colors you have right here until you are very much satisfied with what you have. Okay, fine. Let's go with this. So this is popping out while this one is fainted a little bit into the background. So we want to go with something like this. So you can just shift this one around here. Ctrl D to get it duplicated. This one should be around here. Ctrl D again to get it duplicated. Oh no. So now select one of it and push this one here. So what I'll do now is just to select this one, hold my Control key, select this one here, go to the top ribbon, select shape format, align, and align them top. Nicely done, right? So this one here, I'll move it a little bit down here. So we can control it later how it looks in case we don't really like how it is. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is that for this one, I want to put in the percentage. What I will do now is just to make sure I click on it. Once I've clicked on it, I'm going to come over here and go to insert, quickly go to this text and click on the text box. Inside the text box, I'll drag it in. I'll go over to the ribbon again, go to view. From view, we click on formula bar and quickly we get in the percentage, which is this particular percentage right here. And I'm going to hit my enter key. So this is cool, but the color is not popping out. What I'll do now is to click here and go over here. Let's match the color to this particular one. So if it is not, select and go out of it, click back to this particular text, click over here and click over here. Now, beautiful, right? So we can select a font that looks bold. So let us verify what font is this that is showing this one here. You can click on this to verify this font. So this font is this particular font right here. So we want to go with this font. So definitely click on this and come over here and go with this. So let's some kind of increase it. Nicely done. So we can just go ahead and make sure it's in the middle of it. So what happens with this? If I move it, it moves along with my chart. That is what it is. So this is better. I like it this way. So we're going to be dealing with the percentages, and later after all, we work with the normal values we have. So on this one now, we're going to right click and select data. So we're right here. You can see this is a selection. So we can change it to this particular one here. Quickly click on OK. So once you've done that, this is what you are going to have. So let's verify here is giving us 23%, which is actually the color we are going to change and make it brighter. So come over here, select the inner one, and once selected, go over to no line. Okay, so double click on this one here. In case you cannot get the color you have used for this, select this one, double click on it, come over here to verify it. So this is the color we are using, the second color down. So I'm going to select the same color. Click over here, then this color. Double click on this one to make the color up here, and let's go with this. Okay, nicely done. We're going to adjust things after all. Don't feel anything now if things are not really quiet the way you want it. But now this is what we have. Let us quickly do the same thing we have done previously. We are going to go over to insert. So text box, open up here. So we go to equals. We go over here. We pick up this. We hit the enter key. So now, oh, sorry. Delete it. So first of all, before you do that, make sure you select this first. So once this particular one is selected, you can now go over and pick up what you want. So inside here, you can see there is nothing like white teach something on it. So go over to your analysis and pick up this, hit the enter key. Now let us verify what we have in here. We want to be consistent. We have 20. So I'm going to go with 20. So I'm going to go with 20. 20 looks cool. The next thing is for we to change the color to match the color we have, which is this very one here. Now we can quickly adjust things in the middle like this. Can you see it now? This is better. So we have to fix this as well. Right click and select data. Then quickly go ahead and get this particular part selected. So click on OK. This is better. So Ctrl 1. And here we go. Once this is done, you just have to select this one, come over here, click over here, and this, right? Okay, select this particular one here. Let's choose this particular color. And if I want to change this color now, what I will do is go with this color. And for the text of this number, percentage, we match it to the color. So now we select this particular one. The last time we're picking up this text box from here, we drag it in. Quickly, the equal sign, we go ahead and pick up the percentage, it's 30% or 35% rather. So we go over here, we push it to 20, and the color should match this. All right, nicely done. The next thing we have to do right now is to put in the labels, and that will definitely be using this. Duplicate the previous one we have used. I'll put it under here, right? So what I'll do now is just for me to bring in this one. I know which one this is. Make sure you know. Okay, let's start from the top. You can double this. Keep this one over here. Keep this one right here, right? So now starting from here now, this is the first one we created. So all I'm going to do is to put my equal sign here, and I'm going to go ahead and grab this, right? So we do the same thing to this one. Don't mind if you can't find it. This one here. So before I further do the next one, I'm going to go ahead and give it the color, which is this to this. You get that now? So they use the format painter here and give it to this. So the last one is this one here. We have to go ahead and grab this well utilized, right? So we just need to match it up with this. Okay, I have an idea. We can make it better. How? Okay, on this one now, we go over to the color and we pick this particular color. So this pops. Can make it bold for the color to pop out very well. Then I click on this particular one now, Ctrl B, and go over here, then come over here and select this particular one. Then for this one, we do the same thing. We go over here and select the color, which is this very one. Nicely done. Okay, what is left? I'm going to hold my Control key and select everything. And here I have a plus sign with my Control key still held down. I can just drag this a little bit down here like this. You might be thinking, what the heck are you doing? Don't worry, it's simple and easy. So once we have this right here, right now, what I'm going to do is for me to change it to this. Select this one here. You see it's actually on A015. Let's go over here. So here is our A, or I think A015. The percentages is here, but right now we don't want that. What I want now is this particular value right here. So on this value, what I want to do is to actually create something here that will give me equals. Reference this and concatenation space and this. That is gonna be okay. We don't need this. So in the middle, double click again. In the middle of this one here, I'll type in total buses. So if I hit my enter key, this is what I want to see. I can bring it down. Now, we can't go with this. It's not going to be fair. Let's do highlight of this. So we go ahead and pick up the first one, which is this one right here. Hit the enter key. Pick up the second one, which is this one right here. And pick up the third one. Let's go. And this one right here. Okay. So I can hold my Control key to select all of them at the same time. Then I go to the top ribbon. I select this. So here we go. What about this? So this looks more beautiful, but that doesn't tell any story yet. It's just a number, percentages, and some wear a chart like that. So we'll have to make it right. So what I'm going to do now is just to click over here, and this one, I move this over here. So right here, I'm going to type in Bus Utilization Rate. All right, this is what we have. Nicely done. So for the rest of, if I go over here and hide up this now, for the space that is left is going to be for something very important. So quickly I can just go ahead and duplicate this one here now and bring it all the way down to this level here. So right here, I can stretch this inside it now. I can type in what we're going to show right here, which is going to be total riders based on moment of trip. Okay, something like this. This is cool, but what if we have a separator? I'm going to get this one duplicated. Move it and keep it right here. So this definitely works. And the remaining space below would actually be for our chart. So it's a long series. Let's meet in the next one. Right. The next analysis, what we're going to do right in that is just for we to analyze based on how many passengers do we have or riders do we have based on AM and PM. So we have a pivot table here that can actually do that for us. So if I go to this particular part right here on the fact ridership here, so we scroll all the way down. So we should have a particular column that says moment, operation moment here. So we bring that in. So we have PM and AM. So we can go to active and click over here, and total passengers is what we're going to analyze. Beautiful. So I'm going to drag it twice in here for a reason. So go back, just deselect this one. Don't bother about that. I'll drag it for the second time. Okay. So we want to show it on a percentage. Do we need to show? Okay, let us just do it on a percentage alone. We don't need to get this one involved again. So here we go. So to get a percentage, we can actually right click and go to this particular part where it says show value as. So percentage of grand total. Here we go. Then it gives you this. Very simple to create. In case you don't want to go through that way and you know how to do it all by yourself, you want to get it done, then you can do it. So let me show you how to before we definitely use the other one. So what you need to do is just for you to divide this particular one by the total sum of this. So once you do that, you hit the enter key, you have the percentage. Something is a bit wrong. Let's find out what the heck we have done wrong. Okay, let's do it again. So equals this number by the sum of this whole number here. So remember to actually lock the column down because we don't want this particular part here to move every single time we actually copy down. So what we want to move is actually our AV8, right? So here we hit the enter key. So we can now go ahead and actually copy down, Ctrl+1, then we go over to percentage. Here we have this. If I click on OK, this is going to give us this. In case you just feel like this is not true, so let us right click here and go over to show value as percentage of grand total. Here we go. Now, can you see? We have the same exact thing we have right here. That is how Power BI, not Power BI. So pivot table thinks and give you exactly what you want. So we have something like this. What do we do? How do we get this visualized? We want to create a very simple visual with this, right? So what we need to do now is to go back to our dashboard, and I'm going to click up here, insert illustrations, and go to shapes. I want to take up this particular shape right here. I can just drag this here and create something this small. I'm going to take it and keep it right here. Right. So we want to have two of these. Before I do any copy and paste or duplicate, I can Ctrl 1 and go to no line and click on no line. So have this particular one change its color. The color is being changed. Ctrl D to duplicate it. And this one here should be somewhere around here. So which shows that this is huge. So what I'm going to do now is just to make sure I reduce this a little bit and make sure it looks something like this. So Ctrl D to duplicate this. And over here, we have this done so that we can have space between them nicely like this. Okay. This is quite fine and okay. So we need to change the second one. Its color should be changed to something like this. But no, why don't we use this particular color right here? All right. Okay, we're talking about time, right? So we can go ahead and get this duplicated. Ctrl D will do that for you. So you can just minimize it a little bit and have it somewhere around here. So now it's not showing up very well. What do? We can fix it. So we go over to this particular part and we click on this particular picture colors. We come over here, we choose a dark version of it. And this shows very well. So if you don't want something very dark, you can choose between this particular one or this one here. Okay, I think something dark will be much more cool. Let's go with this. Okay, fine. This is beautiful. So we go ahead and get this one as well. Duplicated. I'll bring it down here. So this one shows up here, except if I just want to use black. Oh, but that doesn't really show up very well. You said it shows up. So let's go over with this particular same color, dark one. All right, this is what we have. Okay, we're going to do something like get this over here, duplicated. So come here and drop this here. I can go over and reduce this way. So this will be total riders by AM. So for my AM part here, I'll bold it. I will make sure it matches the color. So I can now Ctrl D. Double click on this one. PM here. So I want to match this one with the exact color we have used. Okay, nice one. So with this one, it looks very much okay. What else do? I want to get the value here. Can just duplicate this one and I bring it down. It's not really much. Just do something like this. So let's go over and turn on our formula bar. So equal sign. We bring the percentage that is peculiar to AM. So quickly, we have to do this. the color should be fixed. So we're going to be using, okay. So what we'll do now is just to duplicate this one, bring it down, go over here and pick up this. So we can just select this one, this and this. And for the color, we fix it to this particular color right here. So do we have to show the decimal? If yes, let us use just 1 decimal point. So we highlight all of this range. We just push off 1. We go back, it's updated automatically. Do you get it now? This is exactly what it is that you can do with this. Okay, our dashboard is taking shape. So we're going to have some kind of navigation that we're going to navigate between this and the other dashboard we're going to be creating. So we have another dashboard on the way that we will actually create, and look at what we have on that one and how that one can actually complement this one to make the company make decision with their data without using a guesswork. Like, okay, what if we do this? All right, I believe you find value on this. Just let's keep going.